You reach out to pet your cat and they immediately move away. You want to pick them up and they slip through your hands. You're trying to show affection and they're literally running from it. And it hurts, doesn't it? You wonder, why doesn't my cat like me? Why do they reject me when I'm trying to be loving? But here's the truth. Your cat isn't rejecting you. They're not being cold or aloof or ungrateful. They're actually communicating something very specific. And if you can learn to read that communication instead of interpreting it as rejection, everything changes. Your cat isn't saying no to love. They're saying no to how you're showing love. Today on CreatureCode, we're exploring 6 reasons your cat pulls away. And once you understand what they're really saying, you'll finally be able to show love in a way your cat actually wants to receive. Picture this, your cat is sitting peacefully. You see them and feel that surge of affection. You can't resist. You start petting them. They seem to like it at first. But after a few strokes, you notice something shift. Their tail goes rigid. Their ears rotate back slightly. Their body tenses. Then they move away. Most owners interpret this as, she doesn't want affection right now. But what if what you're actually witnessing is your cat reaching their tolerance threshold? Here's something critical that neuroscience has revealed. Cats have what's called a petting tolerance window, not a preference for how much petting, an actual neurological tolerance. Some cats can handle 8 to 10 minutes of continuous petting. Others can handle 2 to 3 minutes. And it's not about whether they're happy or sad. It's about their nervous system's capacity. When you pet your cat, sensory neurons are firing constantly. The stimulation is pleasurable at first. But if the stimulation continues past your cat's individual threshold, the nervous system switches from pleasure to overstimulation. The experience goes from enjoyable to uncomfortable. Your cat isn't saying, I don't want your love. They're saying, my nervous system is overwhelmed. Please stop. In a 2018 study published in Applied Animal Behavior Science, researchers examined petting-induced aggression and tolerance in 200 cats. They measured neurological responses and behavioral indicators to determine each cat's individual petting tolerance. The findings were clear. Cats could tolerate anywhere from 1 to 20 minutes of continuous petting, depending on the individual. But here's the crucial discovery. When owners continued petting past their cat's threshold, the cat's stress hormones spiked. Cortisol levels elevated. The nervous system went into defensive mode. What's fascinating? When owners stopped before the threshold, the same cats would solicit petting again later. They hadn't rejected affection. They just reached their capacity. Most owners interpret the withdrawal as, my cat has had enough, so they stop trying. But what they don't realize is that they're usually pushing past the threshold without reading the earlier signs. The owners whose cats become more receptive to affection are the ones who stop before their cat has to communicate discomfort. They pet for 4 minutes, then stop. They initiate breaks. They let their cat come back for more. The tragedy: owners interpret their cat's distance as coldness. But actually, their cat would want more frequent, shorter affection sessions. The owner just never learned to read the tolerance window. Start paying obsessive attention to your cat's tolerance window. Not to when they get aggressive or walk away. To the earlier signs. The ear rotation. The tail stiffening. The skin twitching on their back. These are the signals coming 30 to 60 seconds before they'll move away. Here's the game changer. When you see those early signals, stop petting. Not because the cat is annoyed. Because you're about to cross into overstimulation. You're preventing discomfort before it happens. Practice a new pattern. Pet for 3 to 4 minutes, then deliberately stop. Let your cat's nervous system settle. This teaches them that affection with you is safe because it always ends before discomfort. Within days of this shift, you'll notice something remarkable. Your cat actually seeks out petting more often. Why? Because they've learned that when you pet them, it won't overstimulate them. You respect their window, so they trust you with more frequent approaches. Your cat isn't becoming more affectionate. You're finally giving affection in a dose their nervous system can enjoy. Some cats love being touched. They'll roll over and let you pet their belly for minutes. Other cats flinch at the gentlest touch. You brush your hand across their fur and they act like you hurt them. Most owners assume one cat is just friendlier than the other. But what if what you're really observing is a difference in touch sensitivity? Cats have something called a sensory processing threshold. Some cats' nervous systems process touch more intensely than others. The same amount of pressure that feels pleasant to one cat feels overwhelming to another. This isn't about temperament. It's about how their nervous system is wired. A highly sensitive cat has more neural firing in response to touch. Their brain amplifies the signal. A less sensitive cat has quieter neural response to the same stimulus. Here's the crucial part. A sensitive cat isn't being dramatic. They're experiencing actual neurological intensity. What feels like light petting to you feels intense to them. A 2019 study from researchers at Lincoln University examined sensory processing differences in cats. They measured neural response to standardized touch stimuli using various methods. They found dramatic individual variation. Some cats' nervous systems showed minimal response to firm petting. Other cats' nervous systems showed strong activation to the same stimulus. This wasn't learned behavior. It was neurological wiring. The breakthrough: cats with high touch sensitivity actually wanted affection. But they needed it delivered differently. Lighter pressure, shorter duration, different touch styles. When caregivers adapted, these cats became more affectionate, not less. Most owners apply the same petting style to all cats. Firm, sustained strokes. But this works for low-sensitivity cats and overwhelms high-sensitivity cats. High-sensitivity cats get labeled unfriendly or aloof. But really, they're just receiving affection in a way their nervous system can't process comfortably. The owners whose sensitive cats become more receptive are the ones who change their touch approach. Lighter pressure, brief strokes instead of long ones. Different body areas. Some sensitive cats tolerate petting on the head but not the back. Experiment with touch variation. Try lighter pressure and observe the response. Try shorter strokes instead of long ones. Try petting different body areas. Head, cheeks, chin often work better than back/sides. Try fewer, brief touches instead of continuous petting. Pay attention to where your cat seeks touch. If they push their head into your hand but pull away from back petting, that's telling you something. They want affection but in specific forms. Create a sensitivity map for your cat. Which touches do they solicit? Which do they avoid? Which make them relax? Use this information to deliver affection in ways their nervous system can enjoy. When you match your touch style to your cat's sensory threshold, they stop pulling away. They start seeking you out. They appear more affectionate because you're finally speaking their touch language. Your cat wasn't rejecting affection. They were rejecting the wrong delivery method. You come home from work. You're excited to see your cat. You want to cuddle immediately, so you scoop them up. They struggle. They escape. They hide. You think, why doesn't my cat want my affection? But what if the issue isn't that they don't want your affection at all? What if it's that they don't want it right now? Here's something cat owners often miss. Cats have periods of receptiveness and periods of non-receptiveness. And these periods are driven by their internal state, not by how much they love you. When a cat is in hunting mode, their predatory system is activated. Their brain is focused on stalking. They're not receptive to affection. They'll withdraw because their nervous system is in a different state. When a cat is anxious or uncertain, they're in self-protective mode. They're not available for affection. They need to assess their environment first. When a cat is satisfied and calm, they're receptive. Their nervous system has space for connection. A cat pulling away isn't saying, "I don't love you." They're saying, "I'm not in a receptive state right now." A 2020 study from animal behaviorists examined the relationship between behavioral states and affiliation seeking in cats. Researchers found distinct neurological states associated with different behaviors. Cats in predatory mode showed activation in different brain regions than cats in affiliative mode. The same cat could transition between these states depending on context and internal state. Crucially, researchers found that when owners tried to engage cats in affiliation during predatory mode, the cats showed stress responses. Their heart rate increased. Their cortisol spiked. But when owners engaged cats during receptive periods, affiliation was sought eagerly. Most owners approach affection on their own timeline. They want to cuddle when they want to cuddle. They come home excited and try to engage their cat immediately. But their cat might be in predatory mode, or anxious mode, or problem-solving mode, not receptive mode. The owners whose cats become more affectionate are the ones who learn their cat's receptive windows and engage during those times. Map your cat's behavioral patterns. When are they naturally receptive to affection? Usually after a meal, when they're satisfied after vigorous play, when they're settling in the evening, when they're calm in the morning, when they're greeting you. Notice when they initiate contact. Those are the peak receptive moments. During those times, affection is welcome. Avoid trying to engage during active play or hunting. Focus immediately after you arrive. They're still assessing. During eating or using the litter box, different behavioral mode. When they seem anxious or uncertain. When you stop offering affection on your timeline and start offering it during their receptive windows, they accept it eagerly. You're no longer fighting their internal state. You're aligning with it. Your cat isn't cold. They just had better timing. Picture your energy when you see your cat. You light up. Your voice gets higher. Your movements become faster and more animated. You're expressing joy, but from your cat's perspective, what are they experiencing? A sudden increase in unpredictability. Louder sounds. Faster movements. More stimulation. For a creature whose survival depends on detecting threats, your enthusiasm can feel like a threat. Cats have an acute sensitivity to environmental changes and sudden stimulation. From an evolutionary perspective, sudden changes meant danger. Predator. A threat. So cats' nervous systems are wired to be cautious about intensity. When your energy level suddenly spikes, when you become more animated, louder, more physical, your cat's threat detection system activates slightly. They're not aware of it consciously, but their nervous system is saying, something just changed. Better be careful. Your cat pulling away isn't a rejection of you. It's a response to the intensity feeling unsafe. A 2021 study from researchers at UC Davis examined cat physiological responses to owner behavior changes. They measured heart rate, pupil dilation, and movement patterns when owners suddenly increased their energy/intensity. The findings: cats showed measurable stress responses to sudden intensity spikes from owners. Heart rate increased. Pupils dilated. They showed avoidance behaviors. Remarkably, the same cats showed no stress response when owners maintained calm, consistent energy levels while engaging them. Well-meaning owners often think showing enthusiasm equals showing love. They get excited, raise their voice, move quickly. They think their cat will feel their joy, but their cat just feels the intensity. And intensity feels unsafe. The owners whose cats become more receptive to affection are the ones who calm down. They speak softly. They move slowly and deliberately. They approach with gentle intensity. Practice calm approach affection. Lower your voice when addressing your cat. Slow your movements. Deliberately approach from the side. Not directly. Blink slowly. The slow blink we discussed in previous videos. Move at your cat's pace. Not faster. If you're excited to see your cat, channel that excitement into calm, consistent presence. Sit down. Let your cat approach you. Your calmness becomes a gift they can receive, not intensity they need to escape. Notice how your cat responds. The slower, calmer approach often results in more willing physical contact than your enthusiastic greeting. Your cat stops pulling away because you're no longer overwhelming them with intensity. You're meeting them with calm presence instead. And calm presence is something their nervous system recognizes as safe. You haven't changed your love. You've changed how you express it in a way your cat can receive. Some cats pull away from affection so consistently that it seems like their default. They almost never accept petting. They rarely let you pick them up. They're just not affectionate. But here's a question. Was this always true? Or did your cat learn to pull away because they've learned that affection attempts lead to overstimulation, discomfort, or violation of their boundaries? This is heartbreaking but important. Many cats develop avoidance behavior because they've learned that affection from humans leads to discomfort. Maybe previous owners held them too long, petted too intensely, ignored their signals to stop. Your cat learned a strategy. If I pull away early, I avoid the discomfort that comes later. Avoidance is actually a protective mechanism. Your cat is being smart about self-protection. But here's the hope. Learned behaviors can be unlearned. Your cat can learn that affection with you is different, that you respect their boundaries, that reaching out to you is safe. A 2022 study from the International Society of Feline Medicine examined cats with histories of negative human interactions. These cats showed consistent avoidance behaviors. But when researchers introduced a specific protocol, respecting boundaries, stopping before discomfort, letting the cat initiate more than the human, the avoidance behavior gradually decreased. Over 8 to 12 weeks of consistent boundary-respecting interaction, many of these previously avoidant cats began initiating contact. They'd learned that this person was safe. The breakthrough, it wasn't about earning trust through effort. It was about proving through consistent respect that engagement was safe. Most owners try to overcome avoidance by trying harder. They pursue the cat. They try to build trust through persistent gentle attempts. But this often reinforces the cat's learned avoidance. They're learning. This person will push my boundaries even though I pull away. The owners whose avoidant cats become affectionate are the ones who stop pursuing. They respect the avoidance. They reward approach by never violating the boundary when the cat does approach. If your cat has learned avoidance, your job is to reprogram that learning. How? Stop initiating contact. Let your cat initiate 100% of the time. When they approach, engage briefly and positively. Stop before they pull away. Let them leave. This creates a new neural pathway. Approach positive experience safe to approach again. Use treats or play to sweeten the association with your presence. But don't force touch. Let the touch come naturally as they become confident. Be patient. Unlearning takes as long as learning. 8 to 12 weeks minimum before you see reliable change. A cat with learned avoidance can become an affectionate cat. Not by you being more loving, but by you being more respectful. Once your cat learns that you honor their boundaries, they feel safe enough to lower their defenses. And when that happens, the affection that emerges is genuine because it's voluntary. Here's what I want you to understand about your cat pulling away. It's almost never about rejecting you. It's almost always about rejecting the delivery method. Your cat might desperately want your affection, but they want it in a specific form at a specific time in a specific way. And when you learn to read how they want love, everything transforms. Cats are incredibly specific communicators. The problem is they're not using human language. They're using body language, positioning, and behavioral choices. When your cat pushes their head into your hand, they're requesting affection, but specifically on their head. When they sit near you but don't initiate touch, they want your presence but not physical contact. When they follow you room to room, they want connection but not necessarily engagement. Your cat is constantly telling you, "Here's how I want love right now. Are you reading it?" A 2023 study from animal behaviorists examined how cats communicate affiliation preferences. They found that cats use highly specific behavioral signals to indicate where they want to be touched, how much contact they want, what type of engagement they're seeking, whether they want physical contact or just proximity. Cats whose owners learned to read these signals showed significantly higher affiliation-seeking behavior. Not because the cat changed, but because the owner finally understood the communication. Most owners project what they want onto their cat. They want to pick their cat up, so they assume their cat wants to be picked up. They want to pet, so they initiate petting. They want cuddles, so they try to create cuddle sessions. But they're ignoring what their cat is actually requesting. The owners whose cats become most affectionate are the ones who follow their cat's lead. They pet where the cat invites touch. They engage when the cat seeks engagement. They respect when the cat requests distance. Become a student of your cat's communication. Spend a week just observing without initiating. When does your cat approach you? How do they approach? Slowly? Fast? From the side? What happens when they approach? Do they want petting or just proximity? Which body parts do they present for touch? How long do they stay engaged? What signals do they give before they leave? Document the patterns. These patterns are your cat telling you, "Here's how I want love." Now, initiate affection according to your cat's blueprint. If they always approach from the side and push their head into your hand, then sit calmly and wait for them to approach. Then pet their head when they do. You're speaking their language. When you stop imposing your version of affection and start following your cat's version, they become dramatically more receptive. You're no longer fighting their preferences. You're honoring them. Your cat doesn't pull away anymore because you're finally showing love in the exact way they want to receive it. If these insights about why your cat pulls away are already shifting how you understand their behavior, hit like and subscribe so we can share this with every owner who wants to finally connect with their cat on the cat's terms. On CreatureCode, we decode what your cat is actually communicating when they pull away. Because understanding your cat isn't about luck. It's about learning that rejection isn't about love. It's about delivery. Your cat isn't cold. They're specific. Your cat isn't ungrateful. They're communicating. Your cat isn't aloof. They're protecting their boundaries and hoping you'll finally read them. The affection your cat wants to give you is already there. Waiting. Ready. As soon as you learn to show love in the way they can actually receive it. Start today. Slow down. Respect the threshold. Read the signals. Follow their lead. Your cat is waiting to show you a kind of affection you didn't think was possible. Thanks for watching, and remember, your cat loves you. They're just asking you to prove it by respecting how they want to be loved.